hello to anyone listening, and welcome to The Patriotic Communist. This is Max Rice, and this is the podcast where I advocate for a socialist revolution in the United States of America, and where I analyze current events from a far-left perspective. We are in the historical context where we choose socialism or barbarism, and that has never been more true. Hello, everybody. In this episode, I'm going to talk about how Bernie Sanders is a willing tool for the Democratic Party and the ruling class, and why we need to acknowledge this. I'm not saying he's corrupt, but his behavior and the function that he serves is as a bridge into the Democratic Party, which is a corrupt political party that always has been and always will be run by big business and the ruling class. But first, I'm going to talk about the escalation of tensions between the United States and China. The United States has been very recently dramatically increasing tensions with China. This is an extremely concerning development, and by the way, it looks to me at least, this is the type of shit you see before a world war breaks out. So earlier this month, the United States Navy played some extremely provocative war games near Chinese military bases in southern China. And these war games involved two aircraft carrier strike groups, so we were basically making it clear that we were not fucking around. Earlier this week, War Criminal Secretary of State Mike Pompeo claimed that basically all of China's claims in the South China Sea are illegal. And he basically stated some international law that the United States itself never even ratified, and of course never followed either. Now, I'm not read up on this enough to know whether or not China is violating any international laws in this case or not, but it is beyond hypocritical for the United States to pretend to care about international law and justice when we illegally bomb and invade countries constantly. And that is not why Mike Pompeo is saying this. What these statements are doing is opening the door for future provocative military action in the South China Sea, which is absolutely a potentially explosive situation. The Chinese government has made it clear that that territory is extremely important to them, and we know this. Also this week, a U.S. destroyer conducted another operation close to Chinese-controlled islets in the South China Sea, which clearly adds a dramatic and violent emphasis to Mike Pompeo's statements regarding the South China Sea. To make it clear, these types of actions are acts of war, big time. But the United States behaves differently than every other country, because we are the empire, the superpower of the planet. We play by a different rule book than everybody else. I mean, could you imagine if Iran or China or Russia or any country decided to practice war games with massive weapons right next to any of our land? Absolutely not. We would be scrambling the jets before you even knew what was happening in the news. A war would immediately start. So of course these are acts of war, but we do them regardless. Also this week, the New York Times reported that the White House is actually considering a travel ban against all of the members of the Chinese Communist Party. This would be an insane thing to do. Keep in mind, there are 90 million people in the Chinese Communist Party. I'll repeat that, fucking 90 million people. When it comes to foreign policy in general and how countries behave with each other, the political leaders will either talk with each other and come to understandings, or there will be warfare, and innocent people will die. Banning these people from our country, the Chinese Communist Party, banning them from our country would be ignorant, foolish, and will simply contribute to our own demise. Right now, both of the presidential candidates, Joe Biden and Donald Trump, are accusing each other of being too soft on China. It is completely bipartisan when it comes to escalating tensions with China. This is horrifying, to be honest, and a major war between the United States and China would have dramatic consequences for the entire planet, not to even mention that both countries are nuclear powers. The United States empire is in rapid decline, and it is extremely violent and powerful, and it will not stand by and watch itself be replaced. And the Chinese government represents the ruling class in China largely, so they will not necessarily always pursue peace over power and profit. The workers of the world must organize, unite, and take power before it is too late. If you think about it, the working class already actually has all of the power in society. It is all about organizing it and directing it, and we win every day of the week if we do that effectively. It is all about organizing. And we truly need an international effort in order to save this planet. Us as Americans can't stand by and let this happen. They use our tax money to commit these murderous, reckless actions. Anyways, now time for the second subject I'm going to talk about today, and that is Bernie Sanders. I think Bernie Sanders is a significant figure that many people that generally ideologically agree with me still adore to this day, including, as it seems, the DSA. But Bernie Sanders is a fraud. I'm not saying this to be offensive or edgy, but it is true, he is a fraud. He never believed in his own phony political revolution. He never intended on dramatically changing the system or the Democratic Party. He's just like all the others. Sure, he isn't corrupt like the others, but he isn't a threat to them either. He is a willing tool for them. He is their co-conspirator that is somewhat more principled. Now, time to get into why I truly believe all of this. Let's just look at everything he has done recently. He voted for the CARES Act on March 25th, 2020, which was a corporate bailout, but it was actually even more than that. It was the largest transfer of wealth to the 1% that has ever happened in human history. What it was a corporate coup of our country. It was a crime against our fucking country, and Bernie Sanders voted for it. That is a deal breaker to me. I can never trust him again. For all I know, he would have been a slightly better Obama if he was elected, or just another Obama. That was not just a bad vote, that was a catastrophic vote. And that was a hostile action that Bernie Sanders took directly against the working class in this country. Period. That is what it was. We have yet to see the full extent of the economic landscape that has been paved due to that legislation, but it will be dire, and this was indeed a crime against the working class. There is no other way to look at it, honestly. So that's one thing. He voted for the CARES Act. Another thing is he drops out on April 8th without getting any policy concessions out of Joe Biden. And soon after he endorses Biden without anything for his supporters in return, he then gaslights them and tells them that they are irresponsible if they don't vote for the warmongering, dementia-ridden, racist, creepy rapist Joe Biden. Bernie Sanders was legit, calling his supporters irresponsible if they didn't vote for Joe Biden literally one day after Joe Biden expressed his support for the United States murderous Back to Work campaign that has caused a disaster in the COVID-19 pandemic in this country. And not only all of that, but the Sanders campaign also sent threats to their delegates, telling them that they better not criticize Joe Biden or other Democratic Party leadership, or that they would be removed from their delegate position. Now, people say that these things were not Bernie Sanders, but that it was his campaign members, bad apples, in his campaign. But you fucking idiots, it is called the Bernie Sanders campaign. This is on him. He is a fucking adult, and y'all sound like fangirls. You sound like cult members. Bernie Sanders has stayed fucking silent as a mouse about all of the anger his supporters have been expressing towards him. Instead of being a real leader, he rolls over and just non-stop gaslights every time he opens his fucking mouth. He is a coward and a fraud. And this entire corporate political system is all theater. Bernie Sanders serves as a bridge for young people and more left-leaning people to support the Democratic Party. End of story. That's his function. We must acknowledge these things and let these massive failures of reforming the political system radicalize us. We must learn from this. We need a workers' revolution in this country. I could keep going on too about Bernie Sanders' failures. Like, what about these stupid task forces, which are beyond a sick joke and simply a pathetic gaslighting attempt to pander to his base that he knows he has betrayed? Again, we need a socio-economic working class revolution. We need socialism, not this weak, spineless, short-sighted reformist mentality that Bernie Sanders represents. Anyways, that's all I got for you guys in this episode today. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Stay safe and stay vigilant out there.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of The Patriotic Communist.
All of the music you heard in this podcast was produced and performed by me, Max Rice, and if you would like to check it out, just search Max Rice on any streaming platform. That's MAXRICE. Yes, like the food rice. This is Max Rice signing off.
We're all distracted by media. The misdirection of attention benefits big powers I mentioned. Y'all try to lessen questions and attentions. Money equals power. We gotta kill this connection. These force-fed concepts make no sense. How y'all hating immigrants and we controlled by the 1%. Zombified by screens. Dehumanization comes easily. All here are American supremacists, but this line of thought is a normality, full of fallacies. While we stay combative overseas, laws and moral laws. As far as I can see, and no one cares because of the mass distractions. We're expected to not question how the government uses our taxes, unless it's helping people. Then they ramble like that's all to see. Though we need to free the people, we need a fucking hero. We need some MLK, FDR style of change. We're full of pain and ignorant, but won't live in fear. Though we need some yellow vest, bulletproof vests and bold claims. We need that fire in our hearts that can't be tamed. We need to reject and correct our collective violent actions, but it won't happen. Fuck, we're all distracted.